Welcome, one and all, to an all-new video with me, Waifu Belector. And man, oh man, it's been a long time since we spoke about Ubisoft. I checked and it was 8 months ago, but now we're back, and surprise, surprise, it's not good news for old Uwubi. So I'll give you the rundown, give you some thoughts, and I'll try not to waste your time. Alright? Let's get into it. Now, basically, what happened was Ubisoft came clean with everyone in a report that might as well have just said, we're not doing so hot. Because they really just reeled off a bunch of the unfortunate happenings currently befalling Ubisoft. Perhaps not the least of which being their 7 canceled projects. Yes, 7 canceled projects formerly in development, most of which were unannounced. But we do know that there was that Splinter Cell VR game and Ghost Recon Frontline among the games that got axed. And as much as canceling 7 games isn't a good look, it's hardly the only problem that Ubisoft has had, because they also reported that the long drawn out development of Skull and Bones just got another unwanted extension, now moving away from its March release date to an unspecified period that will at least be after April 1st. And this is Skull and Bones' 6th time being delayed. It's not a good sign. The likelihood of this game being good just keeps on shrinking. And if you don't remember, Skull and Bones is the pirate action adventure game that aimed to take the ship combat of Assassin's Creed Black Flag and expand it into a full-fledged game. In fact, the game started off as DLC for Black Flag. That's right, an idea to expand upon a game that came out in 2013 still isn't done a decade later. And if I had to guess, I don't think this game will be coming out this year. I think it'll come out in about 2024. Because if you remember, back in July of 2022, Ubisoft actually showed us a fair amount of Skull and Bones gameplay, and it looked fine, I guess, but it really failed to wow anyone, and the most damning thing for a lot of people was the inability to manually board enemy ships in combat. And if Skull and Bones does take until 2024 to release, I wouldn't be surprised if they add a boarding mechanic of some sort. But this extra time that they need could just boil down to being because the game just really was not ready to be enjoyed on any level. Who knows? Either way, the optics of this are unfortunate. And the Ubisoft woes don't stop there. Ubisoft also reported that Just Dance as well as Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope performed under expectations. You compound that with the Skull and Bones delay and compound that with a bunch of canceled projects, and you get to Ubisoft having to re-evaluate their profit projections. So Ubisoft revised its net bookings targets that are now predicted to be down 10% year on year, as opposed to previous predictions before all of this of being up by more than 10% year on year. But why wait for a predicted future decline when you can have a decline right now? Because in light of these Ubisoft revelations, their stock took a negative hit of 10.6% to its lowest point in 7 years. So things aren't looking so great over at Uwubi. However, Ubisoft Chief Executive Officer Yves Guillemot believes he has at least some sort of an answer as to why this is the case. To paraphrase, he says that Ubisoft has struggled to find its footing as the gaming industry continues to push toward everlasting live games and mega brands, as well as citing inflation and lower consumer spending. And I do have some thoughts about this. What he said, to me anyway, kind of seems to take the responsibility of these failures off of Ubisoft and blame it on everyone else. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not even entirely sure what he means by a shift to mega brands. Like, what constitutes a mega brand? And those brands don't just get that way by putting out middling and stagnant content, you know? Assassin's Creed isn't a small brand, it's very fucking popular, but why hasn't it reached maybe the apparent popularity of The Last of Us or something like that? because Ubisoft does everything wrong when it comes to actually making their games and the decisions around them. And at this point, I can't tell if they fail to realize their own perception and the mistakes that they make, or if they just aren't willing to admit them. But whatever the case, I'm not a huge fan of Eve's excuses here. Now, like I said, the last time we spoke about Ubisoft was 8 months ago, and at that time I was talking about the possible acquisition of Ubisoft by another company and how they were sort of ripe for the picking. And maybe that's what Eves means by mega brands, just smaller companies getting absorbed and picked off by bigger ones until it's just a handful of mega brands or mega corporations or whatever. But I don't really see that as an excuse for them. I don't really see how that would mean Ubisoft has to fail right now. They have to collapse. Like, there are other people doing fine. I don't understand why you can't either. Whatever the case, who even knows what he meant? Whatever. With all these developments piled on, selling out or being acquired seems even more possible at this point. Our conversation from 8 months ago, spans on now, because we're in a spot where it's more likely than ever that somebody just come and buy Ubisoft. But I guess we'll see. I'm sure Ubisoft will want to see if they can get their shit together first. Assassin's Creed Mirage is supposed to be a return to form and a resurgence for the franchise. It's, taking inspiration from the original Assassin's Creed. It's being more focused and, and more condensed. And they've also got that Avatar game, Frontiers of Pandora, supposed to be coming out this year or the next. Maybe with a couple of high-profile successes, they can bounce back. But, okay, that's all I've got for you for now. Feel free to let me know what you think. Until next time, I am Waifu Belector. I am just a normal guy. I like hentai, and best of luck to Ubisoft, truly. Goodbye.